Now we begin drafting the back leg of the trousers. This draft will be constructed using the front pattern as a base, steps 47 and 48. On a separate sheet of paper, trace the front pattern. Be sure to copy all key construction lines and the following points: H, 9, 11, 11A, 13, 15, 15A, 16, 16A, 17, 18, and 19, as shown in the draft. Step 49. Shaping the back crease line, also known as the grain line. From point 11A, measure 1 centimeter, approximately 0.4 inches, along the hip line. Mark this as point 25. Connect point 25 to point 13. This becomes your back crease line. Step 50. Back leg width. This is calculated as 1/4 of the hip circumference plus 1.25 centimeters, or half an inch. In our case, the back leg width is 26.5 centimeters, approximately 10.4 inches. Step 51. Back crotch extension. This is 1/4 of the back leg width. From point 25, measure upward along the hip line 6.6 centimeters, approximately 2.6 inches. Mark this as point 26. Step 52. Slope of the back rise. From point H, measure 5 centimeters, or 2 inches, to the right along the side seam. Mark this as point 27. Step 53. Connect point 27 to point 26 with a straight line. Step 54. From point 26, draw a perpendicular to the line from point 26 to 27. This will be the center back seam. Step 55. Extend the vertical from point 2 both upward and downward. Step 56. Back hip line from point 28 to 29. On the center back seam, find point 28 such that the segment from 28 to 29 equals 26.5 centimeters, the same back leg width, and is perpendicular to the back rise. Point 29 must lie on the front hip line. Use a right triangle ruler, sliding it along the perpendicular from the line 26 to 27 until the 26.5 centimeter mark intersects the front hip line. Mark that as point 28 on the center back seam and point 29 on the front hip line. Connect them with a straight line. Step 57. Measure the segment from point 25 to point 29. Then, from point 25, lay that same distance on the opposite side along the hip line. In our case, that distance is 19.8 centimeters, approximately 7.8 inches. Mark that endpoint as point 30. Point 25 should now bisect the segment from point 29 to point 30. Step 58. On the knee line, from points 18 and 19, measure out 1.5 centimeters, or 0.6 inches, in both directions. Mark those as points 31 and 32. Step 59. On the hemline, from points 15 and 16, measure out 1.5 centimeters, again 0.6 inches, in both directions. Mark those as points 33 and 34. Step 60. From points 15A and 16A, measure out 1.5 centimeters to the right and left respectively. Mark these as points 33A and 34A. Step 61. Connect the following using straight lines. Point 31 to point 33, A to point 33, and point 32 to point 34, A to point 34. Step 62. Connect point 31 to point 29. Extend this line upward until it intersects the waist guide line from point 2. Mark the intersection as point 35. Step 63. Connect points 32 and 30. Step 64. Back crotch curve tip. Take the length of the segment from point 13 to point 35. Using this length as the radius, draw an arc from point 13 to intersect the center back seam. Mark this intersection as point 36. Segments from point 13 to 35 and from 13 to 36 should be equal in length. Step 65. Connect points 35 and 36 with a straight line. Step 66. For standard figures, add 0.5 centimeters, that's 0.2 inches, as a crotch extension. From point 36, go downward by 0.5 centimeters. Mark this as point 37. Connect point 37 to point 28. Step 67. From point 37, measure along the back waistline 22.3 centimeters. That's approximately 8.8 inches. This value is calculated as 1/4 of the waist circumference plus 4 centimeters, which is 1.6 inches, for the back dart plus 0.3 centimeters. That's about 0.1 inches. For ease, mark this as point A. Step 68. Use the front block as a template to draft the side seam of the back leg. Align point 7 of the front with point 29 on the back. Rotate the front block until its side seam intersects point A. Trace the new back side seam and mark that intersection as point 38. Step 69. Bisect the segment from point 29 to point 31. From that midpoint, measure inward by 0.5 centimeters, approximately 0.2 inches. Mark the new point. Step 70. Continue shaping the back side seam. Extend from point 31 to the right in a straight line. Extend from point 29 to the left. Below the seat line, connect these lines with a smooth curve that passes through the point you just marked inward. Step 71. Back dart construction. Bisect the segment from point 37 to point A. Mark the midpoint as point B. Step 72. From point B, draw a perpendicular line upward. Measure along that line 14 centimeters, which is 5.5 inches, for the dart length. Mark that as point C. Step 73. From point B, measure out 2 centimeters, or 0.8 inches, to both the left and the right. This accounts for 1/2 of the total dart width of 4 centimeters. Mark those endpoints as points D and E. Draw straight dart legs from points D and E to point C. Step 74. Draw the waistline curve from point E to point 38. Ensure the curve meets point 38 at a 90-degree angle. Step 75. Mark an auxiliary point 40 where the seat line intersects the segment from point 32 to point 30. Step 76. Bisect the segment from point 32 to point 40. From this midpoint, measure out 1 centimeter. That's approximately 0.4 inches on a perpendicular line. Step 77. The back inseam length should match the front inseam. Use the front inseam, the segment from point 19 to point 17, as a template. Align point 19 with point 32. Rotate the front inseam until it passes through point 1. Trace the curve from point 32 to point 1. Then rotate around point 1 until point 17 touches the line from point 30 to point 32. Trace the second segment from point 1 to point 17. Mark the new point as point 39. Step 78. From point 9, measure outward 2.4 centimeters, approximately 0.9 inches. This equals 1/4 of the segment from point 9 to point 11. Step 79. From the new point, which we'll call point 9C, draw a short perpendicular line to the right. Step 80. Bisect the angle formed and measure along the bisector 4 centimeters, or 1.6 inches. Mark that as point 9D. Step 81. Use a curved ruler to shape the back crotch curve through point 9D. Drafting is now complete, but that's not all. We used the standard drafting algorithm, which includes one dart on the front and one on the back. However, if you have a slim waist and prominent buttocks, the back dart should be split into two. In step 67 of the drafting process, where you calculate the segment from point 37 to point A, adjust the dart intake to fall within a range of 5 to 7 centimeters. That's 2 to 2.75 inches. Don't forget to specify this value in the measurement table under back dart intake. For example, enter 5 centimeters, 2 inches. Let's assume a dart intake of 5 centimeters. That's 2 inches for this example. We will skip steps 71, 72, and 73, which construct a single dart, and follow an alternate algorithm for constructing 2 darts. In the instruction table, the steps for double darts are highlighted in pink. Step 1. For the first dart, measure from point 37 a distance calculated using the formula 1/8 of the waist circumference minus 2 to 3 centimeters. That's 0.8 to 1.2 inches. I will subtract 2.5 centimeters, 1 inch, which gives me 6.5 centimeters, or 2.6 inches. From point 37, measure 6.5 centimeters, 2.6 inches, and mark point B. Step 2. Dart intake, 3 to 4 centimeters. That's 1.2 to 1.6 inches. Dart length, 13 to 15 centimeters. That's 5.1 to 5.9 inches. The larger the intake, the longer the dart. I'm using 3 centimeters, 1.2 inches, for the intake and 14 centimeters, 5.5 inches, for the length. From point B, draw a perpendicular line. Measure 1.5 centimeters, 0.6 inches, up and down, which is half the intake. Mark points D and E. Step 3. On the perpendicular, measure 14 centimeters, 5.5 inches, and mark point C. Finish the dart by connecting points D and E to point C. Step 4. To construct the second dart, divide the segment from point B to point A in half. Mark the midpoint as point B1. Step 5. From point B1, draw a perpendicular line. Dart intake, 2 to 3 centimeters. That's 0.8 to 1.2 inches. Dart length, 12 to 13 centimeters, or 4.7 to 5.1 inches. I'll use 2 centimeters, 0.8 inches, for the intake, since we already used 3 centimeters on the first dart. Measure 1 centimeter, or 0.4 inches, up and down from point B1. Mark points D1 and E1. Step 6. On the perpendicular, measure 12 centimeters, or 4.7 inches, and mark point C1. Complete the dart by connecting D1 and E1 to point C1. The darts are now complete. You can continue with step 74 of the regular algorithm to complete the back pattern piece. The final draft will give you a classic trouser pattern for a standard figure, with either 1 or 2 back darts depending on the body shape. You can now input your own measurements into the table and follow the algorithm step by step to draft your custom pattern.